Okay, ladies, what if we don't see disagreements as bad? What if we see conflict as an opportunity? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, that's better. There we go, thank you. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the tale of two leaders. These are co-owners of about a 10-year-old food production company here in BC. They're in their 40s now, but they met back in university. They were each other's maid of honor. They were both at the birth of each other's kids. They're good friends. There's a lot of great history there. And the first time I walked into their headquarters, I felt the discord. I felt the discord between their employees. I can walk into a client site and I can tell fairly quickly if employees are happy on a basic level. I've spent a lot of time developing teams, and it's something I can just pick up on. I can tell when employees are unhappy. And one massive impediment to a happy and productive workforce is conflict left unchecked. So because of this feeling I had, before I'd even met the owners, I knew something was going on. Before I even met them and realized the disagreement that they themselves were having. They'd hired my company to come in and do a Myers-Briggs assessment. It's a personality assessment. It's a team building day. Sales were up, and then they wanted to reward the group with a little bit of fun, but at the same time, they felt the group might be splintering a little. So they wanted to make sure they were bringing people together. So in chatting with them during that first meeting, I realized why I had the feeling that I had and why they felt that the team was splintering. And like I said, it related directly back to the two of them. So their disagreement was actually very straightforward. One leader, she thought the company should be the focus. She thought if they made such a spectacular product, the customers would buy more, the company would grow, and they would experience success. The other leader felt the focus should be on the people. She felt if they focused on the team would serve the customer would buy more, the company would experience growth, and they would find success. Right? So one leader, she thought in terms of profit and logic, and the other leader felt the focus should be on the relationships. In Myers-Briggs terms, one was a thinker, the other a feeler. So as equal partners in the business, they knew the longer this disagreement went on, the more that the company would be split. But they hadn't done a thing about it. In fact, they had never fully articulated to each other what their vision for the organization was. They were living in this kind of no man's land, reacting to the market that they were in as opposed to proactively moving forward in one direction or another. So when I asked how long this had gone on, they said 7 years. 7 years. 7 years, and they hadn't done a thing about it. Why do we avoid conflict? And ladies, we do. We do. We fail miserably at conflict. Okay, men do too, but they do it in a different way. Okay? We avoid and we accommodate when we want to keep the relationship safe. We avoid and we accommodate when we want to keep our relationships comfortable. When we decide to put somebody else's needs ahead of our own. And we do it when we want their approval. So within the workforce, conflict left to fester has some pretty nasty ramifications on productivity and turnover, things like decision-making and creativity. Our relationships suffer. They become weakened, they become imbalanced. And we lose the opportunity to learn from the other side. But I think, and this will be a theme, but I think the worst part is that our needs don't get met. We are not authentic. And that starts to impact our self-esteem. My two leaders were in a bad place. We already know it was impacting their team, but it was also impacting their whole lives. I'm talking their kids, their spouses, and maybe the worst part, it was eroding their relationship. The very thing they were trying to keep safe, to keep comfortable, is the very thing they were at risk of losing. That is what is for so many of us. For so many of us, that is what is. But let's focus on what could be. Let's talk about what could be. Okay, Margaret Heffernan, she did a TED Talk called Dare to Disagree. Dare to Disagree. This woman is my hero. She speaks about how we fill up our lives with what she calls echo chambers, those who are the same as us. So think about who your closest friends are, right? You probably do stuff together, so you have interests and hobbies alike, but I bet it goes deeper than that. It probably goes into values and morals and ideals, right? And then think about those with whom you are engaged in conflict. Is there something different about them? Is there something fundamentally and perhaps unacceptably to you different about them? Seeking out those with whom we have differences is where true collaboration exists. Stepping into that conflict. But it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of confidence. It requires energy and patience, and most of us are simply afraid of the conflict. So we avoid and we accommodate to our own detriment. The thing that my two leaders didn't quite realize, though, was that they weren't echo chambers of each other. They just hadn't yet found the courage to step into the conflict, to step into the disagreement, and see the opportunity for collaboration. My ask is that you prioritize addressing conflict in your work and in your life. And leaders in the room, my ask is that you create a culture of support. When team members do step forward, find that courage and that confidence to address conflict. I ask that you don't see conflict as evil, that you see it as an avenue to betterment, as an opportunity for collaboration. So think about a conflict in your work right now, in your work or in your life, and imagine going to that person with an open mind and genuine warmth and saying, how are we going to work together? Just imagine how freeing, how authentic that would feel to step into that and find the collaboration. Okay, so back to my two leaders. Through hard work, lots of open dialogue, all that courage and confidence and energy and patience I talked about, they were finally able to articulate what their vision for the organization was. They were finally able to articulate and define what they meant by growth and what they meant by success. And by doing so, they were able to see a shared perspective. Because neither of them was wrong. They could both see the value in a spectacular product, and they could both see the value in a focus on the team. By moving away from dwelling on the things that they'd have to give up, and instead looking to what they had to gain by stepping into the conflict and collaborating, they were able to do so. Shying away and avoiding conflict is commonplace for so many of us. We don't want to rock the boat. We want to be seen as nice. But for true collaboration to exist, we must understand the conflict. We must see its potential and view it as an opportunity. Thank you.